Representative Duncan.
Thank you. Comprehensive immigration reform? Are you kidding me? The Bureau of Labor Statistics just reported that in 2013, 20% of American families, not a single member of the family worked. That's 1 in 5 households in this country, American families that aren't working. How about let's focus on putting Americans to work? That's getting the training that might be necessary at the technical colleges. When I think about...
Mr. Duncan, if you'll yield, I'll respond to it.
Well, you've already responded about immigration reform. I appreciate that. It's my time, so I'm going to just talk about energy. That's what we're here to talk about, is putting Americans to work. And when I'm back in my district, I talk about North Dakota being the microcosm of what it could be in this nation if we truly pursued an all-of-the-above energy policy to put Americans to work. You know, I joke that when you get off an airplane in North Dakota, they give you a job whether you need one or not. There's finder's fees for folks to work at McDonald's. If you're looking for a job in America and you're watching this today, go to North Dakota. You know, there is a backlog of about 40,000 rail car units to be constructed to move the oil from North Dakota to the refineries because it's not being moved by pipeline. It's being moved on trains. And so if you want a job, you know, I think about the picture that Mr. Rose showed of the guy with the hard hat on. And when I talk about energy back in South Carolina, which, for the record, we'd love to open up the offshore areas in the Mid-Atlantic and South Atlantic and put South Carolinians to work developing energy off our shores because, A, we know there's revenue sharing coming back to the state, but I think about that picture, and I tell the folks back home, it's not just the jobs out on the oil platforms with the guy in the hard hat and the greasy uniform who's turning the drill. It is actually all the onshore jobs that are created to support the offshore industry. If you go to Lafayette, Louisiana, and you get on the 4-lane, I think it's Highway 90 there, you drive toward New Iberia and Homa and Thibodaux, business after business after business on both sides of a 4-lane highway support the offshore industry. These are industries that, you know, the technical schools support. These are welders and pipe fitters. These are folks that they're going into local restaurants and they're tipping the waitresses and they're going to their church and they're tithing and they're joining the United Way. It's a tremendous economic boom with the first domino being energy production, whether it's offshore or onshore. And so I was curious, Mr. O, first let me say that you ought to wear your ball cap in here because a gentleman from Colorado leaned over to me a minute ago and said, you know, that guy sounds a lot like the guy that does those Ford commercials.
That ship sailed.
I apologize. I got tickled because I probably interrupted somebody laughing. But so I was curious if you've seen some of the same impacts as you travel across the country in the energy sector.
Sure. But again, you just said the first domino was energy. And with respect, I think the first domino is the willingness to work, right? I mean, it's just, that's where we try and stay because there's a belief, and it's a logical belief that says, you know, 10 million people out of work means 10 million too few jobs. We can fix it with 10 million jobs. The skills gap suggests that it doesn't line up quite that way, you know, both for the geographic challenges that we talked about, but there's probably a long list of things. And that creates a real kind of a hot mess of ambiguity, you know, and that's when the conversation of what is a good job in 2014 even mean. In fact, the whole expression good job is something that I'm fascinated by. We never heard that on Dirty Jobs, you know, it was just a job, you know, or an opportunity. And it was just a very, very different mindset. And I kind of Forrest Gumped my way into it. I didn't go into any expectations, but after 100 or 200 of these things, you really start to see a sensibility. And that's why I'm here, because the sensibility that's self-evident in North Dakota right now, it also exists in New Hampshire and Oregon and Florida and really all over the country, just in different pockets and packets. But I really do believe that the thing that's most for sale, that's being most neglected, is a campaign that engages people on that. That's the first domino. What do you value? What do you aspire to? What are you willing to do? And until we really have that in a robust way, my guess is we'll be spinning our wheels for a bit.
I agree. Don't you agree that technical college education is a tremendous bang for the buck?
It is a tremendous bang for the buck, but I also I haven't seen a training program or an apprentice program or an on-the-job training program, very, very few that are completely maxed out. So when I hear arguments about we need more of that, we need more of that, that's where I step back and go, well, you know, if they were all flooded, I guess maybe in my personal experience I would nod and go sure. But the people I talk to who run those, they're challenged with the same recruitment issues as trade schools and a lot of the companies that serve dirty jobs. So that's where the disconnect is. You know, there are jobs available, there are training programs available, but we're just not seemingly on the same page with respect to desire.
And I think, Mr. Chairman, yielding back, that we need to talk about welfare reform in the context of immigration reform. I yield back.